Don't worry about
Thanks,
it.
Sampo.
All right.
Thanks for waiting the last second.
So, I just found out last second, brother. Okay,
All right.
We can live with it. We're good.
let's do this. Meeting number 38 is now called to order this July 15, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. in the Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers. Would you all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Kathleen, Katie, music.
Rinker, Wilson,
Here.
Phillips,
Here.
Graham Murray,
Here.
McCampbell.
Here. Thank you, Katie Music. Tonight we have a proclamation for Ragbri.
Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Oh, please do.
Didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
You're right. I'm just excited because this is an honor for me. Proclamation reads, whereas Steve Hexum is our friend and a valued member of the Pritchard Broadcasting team, best known for his voice on KBUR 93.3 FM and 1490 AM, Steve is a one-of-a-kind person and the only Burlington resident to ride in Ragbri for 40 straight years. During each of those 40 rides, Steve has provided regular Ragbri updates, daily reports, and coverage on KBUR. Steve's commitment to radio coverage, along with his passion of biking and meeting people and promoting Burlington, should be recognized. And whereas, as a resident of Burlington, Steve was involved in the very first Ragbri that ended in Burlington in 1979. He was the master of ceremonies for the event and coordinated the entertainment and launched Radio Ragbri for KBUR. In the following year, in 1980, Steve participated in his first ride and delivered day-to-day Ragbri reports. And whereas Steve Hexum should be honored as a dedicated citizen, employee, and awesome radio broadcaster, and now therefore we, the City Council of Burlington, Iowa, do hereby wish to honor Steve Hexum during his 41st year of Ragbri during the final overnight in Burlington, Iowa, July 26, 2019. Signed and sealed this 15th day of July, 2019, by Shane A. McCampbell, Mayor.
Woohoo!
Steve Exit.
Come on in.
He's the voice. He's the voice.
You have a...
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You gotta do the, yeah, you gotta get the picture and all that good stuff. Right on. He's the voice.
Please have a few words. Give us your name and address, although we should know the name right now.
Right on.
Well, the only thing that I can say is that, you know what, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, eventually, somehow, some way, you might get noticed. Ragbri has been a passion for me. It has given me an incentive to be on my bike every summer. It has given me the opportunity to keep my weight the same as it was 25 years ago.
Quit showing off, Steve.
I'm not. I'm honestly just telling you that it has been a very special time for me, and knowing all of the people that have been involved in Ragbri over the including John Karras, Don Call, Don Benson, Jim Green, T.J. Jeskowitz. Name them. I've known them all, and I have been friends with all of them, and that is a very special occasion. And this year, the Ragbri is honoring Donald Call because he passed away this past year. So this is the Donald Call Memorial Ride, and I take a great pleasure in saluting my dear friend and also saluting all of the people that have done Ragbri, including our dear friend Linda Graham Murray, who actually started
Love Ragbri.
who started doing Ragbri before I did. And anyway, thank you very
I
much.
used to like you, Steve.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the kindness, and I am humbled by the proclamation.
Steve, we'll let you walk right on out of here if you want to.
If you want, or you're
Appreciate
welcome to
coming.
stay, either way. I gotta do the
We've
math.
got exciting stuff going on, so I don't blame you if you want to stay, but we'll let you. All right.
Thank you,
Thank you all
guys.
for coming down. Next on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda. All matters listed under item 1, consent agenda, having been discussed, are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If the discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. That's what the babies do every time I start talking. Man, they start crying. On the consent agenda tonight, we have the usual: finances and miscellaneous, minutes of previous meetings, payroll and city claims, beer, liquor, wine, and cigarettes, reports, and bonds. We have 5 resolutions. The first is resolution approving nuisance abatements for various properties. The second is resolution approving refund of liquor license for Rotor Pit Stop doing business as Rotor's Pit Stop, Inc. The third is resolution establishing a blind person in area zone in the 13 and 1400 block of South Liebrick Street. Quit pinching that baby. The fourth is a resolution waiving the 2019 rental permit fee for the Burlington Area Homeless Shelter. The fifth is a resolution adopting the personnel manual for non-union employees. And then we also have a public hearing set for August 5th, 2019 for consideration of a sale of a property, or a portion of a property located south of the property let me back
I
up.
started it. Sorry
Right
about
on.
that.
Right on. It's consideration of the sale of a portion of property located south of the property locally known as 1220 Mount Pleasant Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to have any of these items removed? I see none. You guys are fantastic so far. Let's finish strong. Let's finish strong. Okay, council,
No.
can I get a motion?
I move we approve the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved in second. Katie?
Rinker. Wilson.
Aye.
Phillips.
Aye.
Graham Murray.
Aye.
McCampbell.
Aye. Okay, this is time set for hearing for consideration of a sale of property locally known as 209 South Gunnison Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. Mr. Tislin, give them the layout.
This is the property we acquired through the abandoned building program. Most of the properties we acquire through this program need quite a bit of work, hence the conditions of sale. All defective items shall be repaired as needed. A licensed plumber and electrician shall inspect and sign off that such items in the property meet or are brought up to code. Sidewalks along Gunnison Street and parking areas shall be improved to meet current code standards as necessary. All permits shall be received and codes shall be met as applicable for work and occupancy of the home. Purchaser shall maintain property and the yard and hold insurance on the property until upon approval of sale by the city council. Work shall be started within 60 days of approval and completed within 180 days of approval by the council, with an extension of 180 days provided progress is being made. Failure to meet the timeframes may result in forfeiture of sale of purchase with resale of the property by the city. Quitclaim deed is transferred to the purchaser upon substantial completion of renovation of the home. No occupancy is allowed in the home until it meets the minimum housing standards. So quite a bit of work needs to be done before any occupancy in the home can occur. So these properties that we acquire and sell do have to go through quite a bit of rehab. It's not one that someone can buy, move in, and fix up while they live there. They do have to rehab it to meet current standards prior to moving into the home. This is a 1.5 story, currently layout, 2-bedroom, 1 bath on a 45 by 156 foot lot. Does need a lot of upgrades and work to be done, but could be a nice home upon completion of that.
It's going to make somebody a lovely home, and just for nostalgia, I used to go to that home back when I was a kid. Mrs. Wace used to live there, and I used to eat popcorn that didn't have,
Holes.
yeah, they were called Pop Teas. That's what she called them, Pop Teas. I go over to Miss Wace and have some Pop Teas. Good times, my friend. It's going to make somebody a lovely home. Let's get down to business. You guys know the demo. We've got 4 bids already put in. Ron Carlson has a bid of $500. He's at the address of 214 South Gunnison. Patrick Smith at 1303 South Central has a bid of $600. Jasmine Holloman of 1010 Spring Street has a bid of $600. And then Kelsey Dell, 6303 Summer Street, has a bid of $700. So that is the high bid. We're going to start the auction. Now, if there's somebody that wanted to bid that has not, that I did not list, if you have a bid that you want to put in, please come to the, what's that called again?
Lectern.
Thank you. Man, I'll tell you what, when I grow up. Please come to the lectern and give us your name and address and then your bid, and then after that you can just raise your hand and we'll we'll sell this property and get this party going. So, we're gonna open up, we have a high bid of Kelsey Dow of $700. Do I have a bid of 8? I have a bid of 8 for Ron Carlson. Do I have a bid of 850, 9? Kelsey Dow's at 9, right on. Do I have a higher bid? I've got 900. Ron? 950. Kelsey? 1,000 for Kelsey Dow. 1,100 for Ron Carlson. I've got 1,100 for Ron Carlson. Is anybody else getting in on this? I see none. Okay, going once, going twice. We're going to sell this to Ron Carlson for $1,100. I do want to thank everybody for coming down, and I want to encourage you that there will be more properties that will be coming up, so don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. You will get the one that was designed for you and was meant for you, so keep coming on back. Keep coming on back, all right? And those that are interested, you see what this, and I want to say this before we let it go. You see what this property went for. The high bid went for $1,100. So put away some money. Your dream home isn't too far away. It really isn't. So, all right. Thank everybody for coming down. We'll let you guys head on out.
Yep, I motion to close.
Second.
Moved in second twice.
Twice.
All right. Okay.
Wilson,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Graham Murray,
I know.
McCampbell.
Yes, please. Annie Wilson.
All right. Your Honor, I would like to amend, right?
Yep.
The amendment. Nope.
No, go ahead, read
Yep,
it, and then
sorry.
then give us the amendment with the sale.
Resolution approving the sale of property locally known as 209 South Gunnison Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions.
Second.
Need to amend to
We need to amend.
list,
And, okay. Any discussion? No, okay.
No,
I would
just
like
go.
to amend.
Yep.
To amend Exhibit C of the resolution approving the sale of property locally known as 209 South Gunnison Street, City of Burlington, Des Moines County, Iowa, that the property be sold to Ron Carlson of 214 South Gunnison, Burlington, Iowa, in the amount of $1,100.
Second.
Moved in second. So let's vote on the amendment first.
Wilson,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Graham Murray,
Aye.
McCampbell.
Aye. Now let's vote as amended.
Wilson,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Graham Murray,
Aye.
McCampbell.
Aye. Okay, again, I want to thank everybody for coming down. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you guys coming down. Keep hanging in there, all right? Smile. We'll go find you. It's going to pop. It's going to pop for you. Okay, sounds good. Good to see you. What's going on, my friend? Hey, come on down, man. Go find you. Oh, it's out there. It's out there, all right? Thanks for coming down. You were the one that I didn't want to get the property to go to. Yeah. Good to see you, Hot Dogs. See you later. We appreciate you, my friend. Okay, you guys know how much I love a sale. I'm ready to go now, but we've got to finish this. So, okay, now we have let me let it quiet down a little bit here.
No, thanks, got it.
Thank you, sir. Okay, our resolution.
Your Honor, I have a resolution awarding contract for the 2019 Recplex Road Extension Project.
Second.
Tisdale.
I was on my way up.
Mr. McGregor.
I took a
He's
detour.
on his way up.
The resolution in front of you would approve contract with Jones Contracting in the amount of $969,777. This project was estimated at $1.24 million. So it's a little bit underneath budget. We have a current operating budget of $1.45 million, which will include some of the inspection costs and then the engineering costs as well. So the funding that is paying for this, there's $400,000 in RISE funds. So DOT, the Revitalize Iowa Sound Economy, and then the rest is TIF financed.
Some people really get irritated when you don't say what it means. Anyway, I guess I should have said that. But
So it's glad to see stuff come under bid. Got me thrown for a loop there.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
So I would recommend approving the approval of the contract with Jones. They've done good work for us, so.
All right. Any questions or concerns from the audience? I see none. Council? Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Kelly. Can you come to the lectern, please? Give us your name and address.
Kelly Hall, 816 Valley, Burlington. I find that some of these jobs aren't on the city's website and they don't go out to bid. Did this go out to bid? And where were they?
Every job that we do in engineering typically goes on our city website. So this was posted for probably 30 days on our city website, since it is over the infrastructure costs being near $1 million. We're required to post it on our website and then put it on Iowa Builders, and then we put it on Dodge Reports as well. So
It comes down as soon as the bidding process is over with. It does.
correct, and we opened bids last week, so
Okay.
that's the reason why it's not listed right now.
Thank you, sir. You satisfied, Mrs. Long?
You said Iowa Builders and I missed the last part.
Dodge Reports.
DODGE?
Correct.
You satisfied, Ms. Hall?
I am.
Okay. Ms. Hall satisfied, so am I then. Council, are we good?
I'm good.
Yes.
Okay.
Wilson,
Aye.
Phillips.
Aye.
Graham Murray,
Aye.
McCampbell.
Aye. Okay, thank you guys. You have been super patient tonight. Not really, because we've been boogieing by. But we're gonna close out last minute remarks. Mr. Tislin, anything closing? Katie Music, anything you need to close out with? You're good? LGM.
Gosh, there should be something I should be talking about,
should
but I
be.
don't know, I don't know what it would be. I'm really excited about how the community is, I'll come up with something off the top of my head.
Hold on. I'll give you time to think about it. Let me do comments
That's
from
from
the
the
audience
audience.
first.
Okay.
How dare me? Sorry about that. Mr. Renteria.
Eric Renteria, 521 North Fifth Street. Just to put something out for everyone, this coming up weekend is Vintage Market downtown, and so it'll be a big event for downtown. I also just wanted to share a little bit. I participated in the Parking Commission meeting last week, and it's a difficult subject for me, as you all might imagine. I think I have a little bit of a different viewpoint than most. On that commission, it was 2 business owners, and then like I don't know, 10 or 12 government or quasi-governmental people. If there's any way to get more participation from downtown merchants and business people, I think it would be very helpful for that. And just to ask for your continued support for efforts for developing parking for downtown, because I think it is an absolutely critical issue.
Okay, thanks.
I'd like to add something.
I heard that too, my friend. I heard you tonight. Not that I don't always hear, but I hear you tonight.
Kelly Hall, 816 Valley. I think I can help with the parking. So Valley is moving forward with development, and we've hired a pretty prominent historian, and we've gotten approval by the state, and we're working on our national designation for historic places. But that's at the time when you bring in an architect, and we've got a very renowned architect, Newman Munson outfit out of Iowa City in Des Moines, and you can look them up online. They did the stadium at the college there, so they've come on board. And we've earmarked that the Jefferson building that kind of butts up against Somme with the old railroad tie has no historical significance, so we're going to be using that for parking for the apartments that will be the upper story redevelopment inside the old Dial building. And if we could get on this early, we could do a nice stacked lot, and there is some funding available for that. So I could pony up that lot if we could, have enough spaces for the upper story redevelopment units, and perhaps, some downtown, even though it's a little off center, at least it's a lot that's available. And then I'm already earmarking it for parking. So I wasn't privy to the parking commission, but that lot will be a parking lot. And it's in the works already to do that. So, hope that helps.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
So, Ms. Hall, stay in contact with me, please. Make sure you let me know if there's anything I can do for you throughout this process.
I do have,
Can you come back to
yeah, I do have a little update. So most of the work I've done has been without the help of the city, and I've definitely asked for help. Eric was kind enough to give me a brownfield phase 1, phase 2, so that came from the city, and I thank you for that. And I put that in a lot of my grant applications, so it did help. And I don't think that there was really much to abate out of there. It's mostly just soap. But we have the need for CDBG funding, Community Development Block Grant. And from what I understand, and it's been quite a maze to figure out, is that the city has to ask Southeast Iowa Regional Planning to help with the development of Dial. And when I call, I just, they really give me a lot of the runaround. For instance, they'll say, oh, well, you're in the flood zone, but per the law, if I have insurance, it doesn't matter. And I send that to them and I tell them, but unfortunately it's fallen on deaf ears. So through the money and the funding that the city of Burlington gives to Southeast Iowa Regional Planning and of course the downtown partners at all, I would anticipate that they'd want to help in the 200 plus units that will be planned down there over the next 2 to 5 years. Our first development will be 24 units, and that's just basically to work out the kinks, and the same architect will be doing that, and we have a developer. And so the help that I would need is, the CDBG funding help, because without the city's resolution, I can't even apply for it. And I'm doing this all on my own, without funding from anyone, with my own self-employed, woman-owned small business funding. Hasn't been easy, and I could really use some of their brain trust, because we're building a community that will have probably the largest housing development, and I believe that I'm the furthest along at this point for any other development that's earmarked for the downtown area. I need help, because my dollars are running thin, and it's not cheap to hire architecture and to hire historians, because my building was kept out of the historic district, which created an issue that allowed me to do a lot more things without being beholden to the district that's already developed. However, this is a development that will, impact all of the downtown businesses. And I don't want to go 100% HUD funded, though if I do, it's going to be low to moderate income. And I'm looking to have people that are upwardly mobile, with money in their pockets, spending in the businesses downtown, going to the farmer's market, going to the music events, and a walkability factor. And we have that there. And I'm looking at the groups here in Burlington that do just that. Economic development is, as my favorite saying is, all-inclusive. And I want that to be made available for our project up there at 816 Valley. I understand through the Tiger Grant there's some money to extend Jefferson Street, and having one of the best architectural firms in Iowa on the building will allow us to extend Jefferson all the way past, Somme into the end of Central. And that building, even though we're not touching the facade on Valley, we can change the facade on Jefferson. So they're looking at some really unique ideas, and I've read all of the plans that have been written by the downtown partners, and they want live-work space. And so we're planning on doing that on the Jefferson side. But I lack input from anybody, because frankly, they don't answer the phone, they ignore me, they give me misinformation. And it's very unfortunate, because I really don't see a lot going on as far as developers are building here anymore. I see a lot of for sale signs. And here I am, doing all of this work with my own funding for, several years, now. And I've asked for support on the CDBG funding on multiple occasions. I've asked to be placed on the agenda. I've flown in from California when my mother had a stroke. I, take time away from my business, my woman-owned small business, to come here. And I do this because I believe in my project, just like I believed in it years ago when I purchased the building. And, thankfully, I have a lot of tenacity. And I also am a very good researcher. Okay? Currently, the issue that I have is that there's a Section 8 program here in town. And apparently, the city council elects the board of directors. And I'd like to be placed on that board in December. There's 2 openings. And I'd like to volunteer for the board. The low-income housing board,
You can fill it, yeah, you can get an application and fill that out.
I would love to. And it's the only board that I've asked to be a part of, even though I could become an asset to many boards in this town. But the reason why I'm asking for that particular board is because the lack of information. I've been given so much misinformation that it's hard to make heads or tails of it. So I'd like to get to the bottom of it, and I'd like to volunteer my services to be a part of that board, to make sure that I build the plan unit development there on Valley with the proper mix, okay? And it gets quite complex because the funding is available. And the easiest way to get it is CDBG. And the only one that does it is Southeast Iowa Regional Planning, who has no desire to work with me unless, of course, the council asks them to. And I'm asking you to direct them to do so, considering that the funding is coming from the city of Burlington taxpayers. And they also have a lot of experience in doing this, so I could use some of their help. They do loans and they do things with the Iowa Finance Authority. And thankfully, I'm able to do work with them too, even without Southeast Iowa Regional Planning. However, I can't do any of it unless I get a letter of support from this board, from this council. So it's kind of a catch-22. So either I get the approval from the city council here, or I go directly to HUD, which is federal, and I don't need anybody's approval. But I keep coming to city council in hopes that I will receive some support. I will receive some input on how to plan this correctly. But as of thus far, it's been very minimal, very minimal. And either way, I'm going to develop this project. And at some point, I'm going to develop it with the way that I think's right. And I really don't want to do that. I don't want to make an error. If I don't have input and I don't have opinions on how that is to be constructed, how am I able to make decisions for this city with the largest building, and also it will be the largest complex? I want to build it right. I want it to look aesthetically the way that the city is going to want it to look. And most of the funding is public funding. A huge portion of it is. And so with that, I want to be respectful to the funding. And I really would appreciate any input, even if it's constructive. That's okay. It's good to think about things before we build them and put money in. So I'm hoping that I could receive, a resolution for Southeast Iowa Regional Planning to help me in this development. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you for coming down this one. Are there any other comments from the audience? Okay. Now, Peanut Butter, I know you've had time to think about this. So, do you have any closing comments?
I'll keep it brief. No, I'm just really excited how the city is going together and spiffing up the town and getting ready for RAGBRAI, and the painted crosswalks and everything look really nice. So kudos to everybody that's working really hard there. Make sure you get out. It's going to be a warm one this weekend, but get out to Vintage Fest and enjoy yourself there. Vintage Market. Did I get the name right?
Market.
Yeah. Sorry.
Counselor.
I'm going to keep repeating it for a little bit. If you're a resident of Burlington, we will have a couple of seats that are up for grabs this November. And so please get up, get your papers, get your 40 signatures, and brush up for the debates.
Well said, well said. MPT,
I got nothing.
you got nothing? James is back with us. Welcome to America. What do you got, James?
I haven't left the country yet. That's not till Friday.
Whatever.
Just in time
The-
for
Thinking through what was just mentioned, we've had another individual who had looked at the option of doing some CDBG projects in the downtown area and had come to the council earlier this year with the issue of not being able to go after CDBG funding because they're in a Zone A flood area. Portion of this building has that same issue, which is what apparently Southeast Iowa has said.
You're incorrect.
It shows on the map that, and that's what they have to go by. But regardless, they're gonna work on that same thing as they go through that process. Our staff doesn't get involved with most of the CDBG applications. We have a CDBG application that's coming in here, I think this next month,
In August, yep.
on the TAMA site. That's one where the developer has done all of the CDBG application work themselves.
Yeah.
We just don't have staff that gets involved in that.
So we're
in
gonna-
that.
This isn't, we can't do that. That's one thing I can't do, is have a back and forth with you.
Okay.
I let you give your comments, and now we're gonna finish it up.
Yeah, I want to comment back on this.
You can afterwards,
Okay.
you can comment to him, but right now, we're gonna.
On the
We're
record.
gonna wrap it up, yeah.
The TAMA building has the CDBG applets going in, but they bore the responsibility for developing it. They worked with Iowa Economic Development Association, or Authority,
Yep.
to get that prepared and have gone through multiple conversations. We've had to be involved with them primarily because when it does come, it will flow through the city. The council will have to approve it, similar to any other CDBG application. We will have to approve that. But we just don't have the staff to do that ourselves, and we do refer folks on to Southeast Iowa. We rely on them to make sure they understand how the rules work. We don't get involved in that. And we rely on IEDA as a sponsoring entity at the state level to be the conduit for how that works. We do perform our role on it, but we are fairly limited and have very limited abilities to really understand rules or to be the ones helping folks to go through that process. We essentially just refer on to other entities to do that. Unfortunately, that's just the situation that we're in. We will partner, but we're just not in a position to be the ones who are driving that.
May I speak?
No, ma'am,
When am I allowed to talk?
because I just let you have your comments,
Yeah, I
Ms.
know.
Hull.
I'm going to rebuttal this.
No, this isn't
Okay,
rebuttal.
well,
This
it's
isn't rebuttal
completely
time, Ms. Hull.
incorrect.
Ms. Hull, this isn't rebuttal time now.
It's completely incorrect.
Ms. Hull, this isn't rebuttal time.
He's touting something that's wrong.
Ms. Hull, I want to work with you. But
I
this
do
isn't
too.
This isn't rebuttal time. This is
Mr.
comments from the
McCampbell.
audience, and I gave you ample time to give your comments.
Mr. McCampbell, but now he's saying
Ms.
something
Hull.
that's not true.
Ms. Hull, talk to him after the meeting.
I would love to.
Okay.
I'd like
right
to
now
talk
we're
to
about-
all of you after. the
Okay.
meeting.
So, James?
Tiger Grant, were you going to refer to that or no?
I think last time I had mentioned that the Tiger Grant would happen next week. Because of the scheduling and everything going on, RAGBRAI staff-wise, and the time to let people know of the event, it's actually pushed back to August 13th, 14th, 15th. And so we'll have they call it a charrette, which is a fancy word for, we sit down and talk about the design and what the project will be. So we'll push out some information on that. It'll be 3 days, but it won't be everybody for the full days. There'll be the steering committee that kind of meets and discusses what we're talking about, and then there'll be a public meeting in the evening time, probably hosted here, to review that. So look for that. We'll push out some information here this week for August 12th, 13th, 14th. So you get a little bit of time and, the public level, time to respond and plan ahead. So just wanted to. And then also Riverfront, you've seen, we've started taking some of the wall down. We took some of the wall down so we could clean on the other side. So we'll be removing the rest of the wall over the next couple days and then cleaning the rest of that. The cleanup at the depot is all but finished. There's some flooring in the women's restroom, so that's the reason why it's still closed. We have to get that replaced, and we don't want anybody tracking on the tacky surface. The port actually started today. Evidently, they've been, moving on that, so the port may be further along than we had expected. And then we have some estimates in on the auditorium. That contract exceeds the threshold that you gave approval for staff to approve, so that'll probably come back to council. It's not ideal to have it, sit and wait for 2 weeks to get council approval, but it's in a dollar figure that's higher than we have authority for, so it'll have to come back to council. But things are moving now, so I just wanted to give you an update on that.
Thank you, sir. James, anything else?
Only other reminder is no meeting next week.
Okay. Well, I've got nothing else in closing, so can I get a motion?
Move to close?
Second.
Moved in second. Katie, take us out.
Wilson,
Aye.
Phillips,